name is Dymand Mitchell. I'm from
Hi, I'm
Bellisario
College.
College.
I'm
Because
last year I definitely was
well in all my classes consistently throughout the year, and I had a lot of
It's pretty good.
So spring of your junior year all the way around, right? Are you doing now what you thought a college student would be doing as a college junior?
I want to say yes, but also no at the same time. Yes, in the sense of being as immersed in my college life as I expected a college student to be, but also no, because where I am on my path as a junior in college, their spring semester, it's like I would not have expected a junior in their spring semester in college to be like living out. Yeah.
Like what? What do you mean?
So like, for example, I think by this point I would have expected to have like everything figured out, declared my majors and minors right, like way before where I am. And like for me, I just now declared everything last semester. So I'm finishing everything out now versus like I felt like coming into college, I would have expected to have everything finalized by the end of spring semester, beginning spring semester of my sophomore year. Yeah.
Dan, what about you?
I think I'm pretty much where I thought I would be. It's moving a lot quicker than I thought. Even though everybody tells you it's gonna move fast, you don't really know until you're here. I've had a lot of my plans kind of set since freshman year, and I luckily haven't changed many of them, so that's kind of helped me been able to accomplish more. Like I was able to fit in a minor and a certificate along with my major, so that's been nice. So yeah, just moving so quickly, and even with doing all of that, I'm able to probably graduate a semester early, which will be nice.
Jake, what about you?
It's definitely gone very fast. I was definitely warned about it going very fast, and here I am, and I can't believe it's spring of junior year. But as far as where I am, I think, yeah, like I'm very involved now with like the filmmaking stuff. Like I have projects I'm making for class and stuff I'm doing outside of class, and like I'm working like across like with other people. Like like at the beginning of the major, I was like kind of doing my own projects in my dorm with like myself and a camera kind of thing, and now. It's very collaborative, and I think that's what it should be. That's what film is, and Thon and everything. Like I knew what Thon was, and I was excited to come to Penn State because of Thon. But I don't think I could have predicted how much I would get involved and how much I would be able to use like my comm stuff and film stuff like for my org. Like I've been our communications officer for a couple of years and like got to make a ton of videos and stuff. So it's very much still in line with like what I'm doing like in my major, but like for Thon, which is awesome. And I have a job like with the film equipment room. So it's kind of like everything's pretty well rounded, and it's all kind of in the same area of interest, which is what I came to college for, and I love it. So I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
All of you are busy. There's jobs, there's credits, there's activities outside of school. How did you find the activities? Like, how did you identify them and get involved? When you first came as a freshman, how was that process to get engaged and involved, and how has that shaped your experience?
I think it's kind of hard not to get involved here, just because like from emails that you get constantly and people always coming up to you saying, hey, join this, join that. Like the harder part for me was figuring out like what I didn't have time for and filtering out like what I could do versus what I couldn't do, just like based on time alone, because there are so many things when I came that I wanted to do. So yeah, just kind of working through that, and because a lot of the opportunities will come to you easy enough. So that's the nice thing about going to a big school like Penn State is the opportunities are here. You just need to figure out what direction you want to go in.
Yeah, I think I did like a complete 180 with all of the clubs and organizations I joined. So my freshman year, I joined everything, like all the bigger ones, because I figured there's so many people here, so many great networking opportunities. I can meet so many great people. And then as like I went on in my schooling, it became more, I don't necessarily think I want to be in this organization anymore, because like I joined just for the people, not necessarily the organization, which I mean, looking back on it was probably a dumb thing to do. But now it's like, finding these orgs were more so of knowing like finding people who were also in the org, and they were able to sit there and tell me like, this is why I love doing this, or this is why I love being a part of this. And like I think an organization I'm in, for example, I learned about them before coming into Penn State, so like I was always interested in them, but like I never really thought about like actually joining until I think about my sophomore year. I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to do it, and so I did that as well. So I don't think really finding the organizations was more of a process for me my freshman year, and then sophomore year came around and I was like, okay, now I know exactly like where I want to be.
Yeah, definitely along those lines. And I think like when I give tours and like parents ask about like, you know, getting involved, I say like there's an involvement fair with like 1,000 clubs on one lawn, and like you kind of join 15 and stick with 5 or something like that. So like, you know, my heyday of the first month of college was when I was on the club kickball team for like 2 weeks. I caught an out and then I dipped because like, you know, found I was going to be more involved with, you know, my Thon org and like, you know, PSN TV and things like that. So yeah, I think it's definitely great to join a lot, you know, just anything that sounds remotely interesting, and then like either if it's because of the people or because of like how it relates to what you're studying in. For any reason, it could be different reasons for different clubs, but you kind of find like what, you know, you have so much time per week, and if, you know, on a weekly basis you hit these 5 things and that makes you happy, then that's what's great.
Have your your approach to academics or your study habits changed, matured, altered as a college student than from high school?
Yes, I definitely studied more in college than what I've done in high school. But I also think I learned to pace myself out when doing assignments as well. So in high school, it was easier for me to just do my assignments like all in one night, and then it would be finished. Here, I realized like a lot of the assignments take a lot more time, and you have to put a lot more effort into it. So therefore, I like can start an assignment on Monday that's not due until Friday, and then I work on it gradually throughout the week rather than saying, okay, I'm just going to get this assignment out the way.
Anybody else? You're the same.
My study habits haven't changed at all.
Okay.
I think, yeah, in high school it was more of like, all right, what do I have to do today to be ready for tomorrow kind of thing, and it was just kind of, and then I would do that and it'd be done in an hour, and then I'd go, you know, have fun or whatever. But, you know, you definitely have to pace yourself out more in college. There's a lot more on your plate. Mm-hmm. So something I've started doing in college that I never did in high school was like at the beginning of every week, I'll like kind of map out like Sunday through Friday, like what do I have to get done, and then kind of like I'll make a huge list of everything that has to be done like that week, and then I'll just start placing it like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that like that way each day I'll know what I need to get done before like I can, you know, go back to my apartment. So like I'll go to the library, go to the hub, you know, somewhere on campus, and just knock out what I assigned for that day, and then when I get that done, I know I'm still on track for the week overall. So like I never did anything like that in high school, but like, and I don't know when I started doing it. It wasn't right away freshman year. I think it, you know, it's probably towards the spring of my freshman year. I was, you know, getting into some classes where there was really a lot of work, and not that I minded that. It was, you know, stuff I was interested in. It was film history, you know, and you know, the first production class, like planning out everything. But so it wasn't just something I could scribble out in an hour and move on. So I definitely wanted to make sure I was, you know, coming here for the right reasons and getting the most out of it. So you know, I've adapted that, and that's kind of how I still handle it now.
So you were organized in high school too?
Yeah, I was pretty organized then. I think the one thing that might have changed a little bit is kind of what he was getting at is you kind of have to look further ahead. It might not take super long to do the assignment, but you might not have, like if you're involved like we are, like you might not have time every night to do an assignment. So maybe you need to plan 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead, and say, okay, I'll work on that next week, but that's still before the deadline, so I'm okay.
How do you make time in your schedules to relax? You're busy, like, I mean, and what? How do you prioritize that, and what do you do to like find some time for yourself?
I mean, I don't want to sound like crazy, but like, you know, when I'm making those weekly plans, like if I know like someone's birthday's that night or, you know, something, like I'll put that on the list too. So like I'm kind of like aware of what's all going on. So like, and I don't have like every minute of every day of my life planned out. And sometimes, you know, I have like 6 things I said I'm going to do on Thursday and I only get to 3, and then I kind of got to, you know, follow back up. But like, you know, it happens. But I think like just like being aware kind of like a few weeks out, like what's all going on, and just making sure that you're constantly like not being surprised by things like, oh, that's tonight, like that kind of thing, and then you kind of stay on top of it. It's not, like I've never felt like at any point in college I've been like, I'm not having fun and I can't have fun because I feel the need to, you know, get all this classwork done and work. Like I've been up on all of that, but like always been able to have time for myself, which I think is great so far.
I think something that I've done to kind of help with that is when I got a job, I made sure I got a job that was flexible. So if I know that I have a lot going on one week, I'll pare back on my hours a little bit, and they're comfortable with me doing that. So that was something I looked for, is making sure that the activities that you do, like they'll cooperate with each other, like on your schedule. So you can't have all super rigid activities where you have to be there like every hour of every day because sometimes schedules change and that just doesn't work sometimes. So trying to find some activities that can be a little bit more flexible are important too.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a gradual process. I think it was a gradual process for me learning how to make time to actually relax, because for me personally, I'm the type of person where if I'm busy, I'm fine. I like love being busy all the time. And so joining a lot of organizations and like packing on schoolwork and like actually working, it was really good for me because I was out of the house. I was always doing something. And then I realized like actually relaxing, at this point I think my times for relaxing is when I actually have nothing scheduled, which again is fine with me because like the organizations that I'm in, I feel like I'm relaxing even when I'm doing work with them. So it's more of finding things where I know I'll be fine with and like it feels like I have free time even if I'm not necessarily having free time.
You're 3 years into this. What has surprised you about Penn State?
I think it's smaller than people say it is or realize. Like, you meet so many people here, like you're guaranteed to almost have a friend of pretty much anybody. So like if you need to network or if you're doing some new activity, like there's a way to get to know the people that you're talking to on campus, which is not something that they really say that much. They always kind of emphasize that it's a large campus and you can make it small, but I don't think people really understand what that means.
I think something that surprised me was definitely the fact that you really just need to expect the unexpected when you're here, and that's mostly when it comes to just social events and just things where if you're walking around campus, and for example, I was walking around campus and I saw a guy in like a dinosaur costume. Like these are normal things that you'll see on campus that most people, like when you're giving tours or like you see people who are visiting the school, they'll look around and they're just like, why is that guy in a dinosaur costume? But all the students are really just ignoring it because I mean, we expect to see weird things a lot.
I fully agree with both of those things. I think like definitely in terms of it feeling like smaller than you'd think is if you get involved in like, you know, so many orgs or like you just have like enough classes with people, like by junior year, like, you know, not to like keep going back to Thon, but like with Thon, like I walked around, you know, a lot of Thon and I kept seeing someone from this class and someone that, you know, went to high school with my roommate and like someone like that, and it was great. I was like, there's like thousands of people in this building and I keep running into people that I know like, you know, just a little bit, and it's awesome. And we had a vigil for Taco Bell last week, and so just things like that like, you know, on campus, like I mean I'm sure it happens on some colleges, but like there always seems like there's something at Penn State that like we can rally around a Taco Bell closing on College Ave and get on like CNN about that. Like I think that's kind of crazy, but it's fun. Like it just kind of shows that like everyone's, you know, here and, you know, having a, you know, fun time. Like, you know, people had candles out because the Taco Bell closed.
And
I thought that was beautiful.
And I think like the thing about the Taco Bell thing, it goes back to like, if you're at Penn State, you would expect nothing less from Penn Staters to be doing something like this. But then like people who aren't like they don't necessarily know like being at Penn State, what being at Penn State is like. Why are these kids doing a vigil for a Taco Bell? So it's, things like that where it's just, I never expected to be able to feel this type of like school pride, just like knowing that being here, like there are things here that you will know and like understand that a lot of people won't get.
You have a year plus left in your academic lives, or shorter depending on getting done semesterly. What's on your to-do list still? What do you feel you have to do to be a Penn State student yet that you haven't?
I don't know.
Have we hiked Mount Nittany?
I have not.
I haven't.
There we go.
Yeah, they give you this like book, like in your like orientation packet. It's like things to do before you graduate, and like it has hiking Mount Nittany. It has yelling "We Are" at a tour group. I haven't done that yet.
I haven't done that.
I've done it a couple of times actually.
How's that? Is that fun?
It's really fun, but because a lot of people don't necessarily know like what's happening, like you scream it at them, and then you hear the tour guides are always great. They're like Penn State, and then you have everybody else in the tour is like, Penn State, do I want to do this?
Not all in yet.
Yeah, nobody's really know. They don't really know.
I want to, like, on the film side of things, I want to get something that I make into the Blue and White Film Festival, which is the student-run festival through the Student Film Organization. They have it at the end of every spring semester. This might be a sidetrack, but going to that, I didn't go to it my freshman year, and then I went to it my sophomore year because it was extra credit for a class, and like watching those films and realizing that like kids were making these incredible films in the same major I was in, that's when I was like, I need to start like doing real stuff in this major. And so like I loved that I went to that, and it kind of like woke me up. And like this year I felt very on top of like doing extra projects, doing things, you know, that I didn't have to do just because like I wanted to get the most of my time here with the equipment I have and the people that I'm close with, you know, in proximity, and you know, in terms of being, you know, great friends and like collaborators and things. So to get something that I make into that festival, you know, this year, next year would be amazing, and I'd kind of feel like I came around full circle on that.
In many ways, you guys have all had at least a piece of your experience that just feels quintessentially Penn State. You know, Dymand, you're working at the creamery. What is that like? I mean, I know it's work because it's hard and it's not cold as much as hot with the heaters. But people come in there generally happy, right? I guess.
It depends on the day. Generally, yes, people will come in happy, but there's also the times when it's very crowded. There are lines outside because everybody wants to get ice cream or everybody wants to take ice cream home. So we may not have a flavor that somebody was looking for because we rotate our flavors out like a lot. So it's just things like that. But like generally working at the creamery is probably one of the best decisions that I've made. I've met a lot of people, working there. I've met a lot of people who come in just to get ice cream, or like they're genuinely interested in like the students that are working. So like, for example, again, I'm a communications major and I'm working where majority like ag science students, like you would expect to see ag science students. So when people hear that I'm not an ag science student, it makes them more interested in like me personally, and just having those one-on-one conversations with customers is really great for me.
And then you work for football,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of cool, and then you tell people you do it. What's their reaction, and what's that like? I mean, that's a cool place to work as a Penn State student, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience. A lot of people don't have the chance to do it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours, but I'd say a lot of it's worth it. People generally ask, like, what is it like? Like, do you get to know the players and like all those sort of questions? The answer is sometimes. But yeah, it's definitely a unique experience, and it makes people more interested in the whole Penn State experience as a whole, knowing that, you know, I was just a regular college student coming to Penn State, and you get chances like that to work for a team that is so well known and so recognized. Yeah, you get those opportunities at Penn State, and you can't say the same for a lot of other schools. So. And
I know we've touched on Thon a couple times, but
yeah.
I mean, you dove in early on as a freshman in doing things and getting involved in being a Penn Stater, for whatever that cliche thing that is, right? What's that feel like? I mean, what are, when you tell people, hey, I'm doing this or this, whatever the things are at school, what are their reactions to how you're involved in this campus?
I think, like, you know, the joke is like Penn State is a cult. Like, you know, like if you go to the tailgating or, you know, a football game and like everyone's like screaming the same thing, like 1/10 of a million people screaming the same thing in like one spot, and I think that's awesome. And I think like people out of town or whatever, like asking like about it, like being a part of it, like it's very personal at the same time. Like, you know, like there's all these people doing the same thing, but like you have your people, and like, you know, my Thon org, like I would do anything for the people in that org. And so like we're all doing like the Penn State, you know, essence of it, I guess, but like it's very much for you and your people. I'm not, sorry, my phone's going off and I don't know what's happening. I can restart that or think of something better. That's my bad. Well, I think like at Thon, like for example, like during the pep rally, like, you know, at the end, like last year at least, we did the alma mater, you know, which you do at the end of all the sporting events, and you know, everyone like has their arms around each other's backs and swaying back and forth and like singing the words to the alma mater. And last year when I was in the stands, I saw the parents of one of our Thon families, you know, singing the words and like doing the same thing, and neither of them went to Penn State, but like, you know, through Thon and like being a part of our org, like they felt part of that Penn State family, and I think that's like really powerful that like they feel included in this community because of, you know, something that like is so Penn State, like Thon, that it can like bring these people in where they're singing the alma mater too, even if they didn't go here. So I think it's pretty powerful.
Is this place home for you guys now, or at least a part of it? Does it feel more homier than it did, I don't know, when you first moved in, obviously, I guess, but do you consider us in any way home or more comfortable, or how would you explain that?
I definitely feel at home here. I love where I grew up and everything, but by the end of, this past winter break, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back. I want to be back in Happy Valley. And like when I have like friends from high school come up to visit, I want to like show them everything. Like if they go to like Virginia Tech or whatever, I took them around campus and like, I'm like, there's the Arboretum. I don't go there, but we have it, like it's, I really I feel like proud of like showing around the area. So I guess that means I probably feel like it's home, right?
Yeah, same. This is definitely a part of me now. I mean, yes, I'm getting a degree, but like lots of people can say like they got a degree from a place and not necessarily like want to have anything to do with it again. But I think being here, it's definitely like made me feel like this is home, and like if I can go anywhere where there's been a Penn Stater, and I'll feel comfortable because I know like we've gone through some of the same experiences, and like we know a lot of the same things. So like even just like sitting with these guys right now is like we have a lot of the same experiences, and like we can sit there and have conversations for hours about Penn State related things. So it's things like that, just not necessarily State College itself, but Penn State and the concept of Penn State is definitely comfortable and home for me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a place where so much of my life has happened, so much of the important parts of my life have happened that I think, going off his point, like it's so awesome to be able to share that with other people. And I think that's definitely part that makes it home, is that you're proud to show other people what happened here, and what happens here all the time, and try and get more people to come here, get your friends, get people, if you know them in high school, get them to come here, because it's such a great place, and it's awesome to be able to share that with other people.
Dream job, ultimate job is what?
Probably something in IT, management eventually, and then finding a way to get there.
Done?
Event management / social media PR.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jake?
So like if I could wake up in 20 years and be doing one thing, it would be like the showrunner creator of like a TV show, like Breaking Bad, like the guy that gets to call all the shots and decide who dies in season 2 and that kind of thing. But obviously there's a lot of rungs on that ladder to get there. So like I would just love to get out and be able to make some of my films and like maybe get in the writer's room, something like that. Just anything in that field I would love. It would be amazing, but that's the ultimate goal.
2 words for your Penn State experience.
I would say it's very rewarding.
Oh, very. There's a big college word. Good job. I guess I shouldn't be busting your chops. You're helping me out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an experience. Being at Penn State has been an experience.
I would say it's a family or community, people. It's been great.
You guys hadn't met before, right? I mean, before today, have you guys?
No.
I think
No.
Okay. Cool. Spring break home.
Yep.
Spring break here.
Yep.
Spring break home.
Spring break home.
Okay. Thank you very much for this. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys making time to get out here. We will bug you again at some point, and certainly through the end of your. So you're gonna be done in December.
Yeah, hopefully, if all goes
Okay.
to plan. I'm meeting with the advisor on Friday to lock that in.
Okay. So tell me. So which your major is
Telecom.
telecom, but you're gonna do IT. Add PR.
I switched now. I'm digital and print journalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Film.
Okay. Cool. Thank you guys very much.
Yep.